It's gonna start. Oh, there we go.
Alrighty, guys, we are back again with another video. This is kind of our state of TNA video part. I don't know. I think this is 3 at this point. We just kind of like to give you our updates personally on some of the things happening in TNA right now. Um, there's been a lot of rumors that TNA may be shutting down, that they may be, kind of combining or merging with Global Force Wrestling. And I think with kind of with Summerversary in the rearview mirror at this point, as far as time is concerned, I think it'd be a good time to kind of update you on TNA, what's been going on. This is not just an opinionated video. This is based off of some of the reports and everything that we've seen in the news, and then we do, in fact, give our opinions on what's up with TNA right now. So first off, let's tell you about, and I'm probably going to be missing some of these, but I hope I'm not. Some of the guys that are reportedly leaving TNA, and these are guys that I'm pretty sure it's official at this point. So you got Magnus and James Storm. They're obviously leaving because if you watch Slammiversary tonight, Magnus did say, I don't know his exact words, but he did say, that they're going in for their final battle after, however so many years in TNA that they've had. So that was kind of the confirmation that at least Magnus and Storm are gone. Gunner and Shaw have been gone for at least a week now. So that's unfortunate. We see, Gunner and Samuel Shaw gone. I like both of them. I definitely like Shaw. I think Shaw had some potential if they would have used him more so than they did. They kind of used him with the Christie angle, and then that was about it for Shaw. Some other people, we've seen, or that I'm getting reports of, is Low Key. Apparently, Low Key is supposed to be going as well. That just kind of builds the stereotype that, anyone who joins the BDC pretty much leaves. I feel like I don't even know Samoa Joe now Low Key. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And then another guy I saw was Austin Aries. His contract is, kind of running out here. I don't know if he wants to resign. Just because Aries, if you don't know, before Aries came back to TNA, he was planning on retiring anyway. So it might not even be a TNA Austin Aries thing. It might just be an Austin Aries ready to retire thing with Austin Aries. And then we got 2 knockouts. We got Terrence Terrell and Awesome Kong. These are just reports. The other 6 or 7 that I said were actual, most likely 99.9% they're gone. Whereas Terrell and Awesome Kong are kind of up in the air because they were reportedly gone as a report, and then it came back that Terrence Terrell saw it, Awesome Kong saw the report, and they both said they were still in, they were, staying. And even Awesome Kong said she was gonna deck the halls and bring in the season or something like that with TNA. With Impact Wrestling, so she did, tweet out that she was staying, and Terrell also said, she said, I'm not done playing yet. So she is reportedly saying she's staying. So those are kind of still up in the air. When I think about these guys, though, Storm is one of those guys that I'm really upset about, as far as him leaving. The reason I'm saying that is because Storm is an original, and he's another one of those originals that's going to be gone. And it's just sad to see all the TNA originals just kind of leave if they're leaving to go elsewhere. Aries, obviously really good talent. Low Key, kind of still a TNA original to me. So it's gonna be, but he comes and goes, so it's kind of a little bit different than Storm. Storm's been there for a while. Gunner and Shaw, guys I thought were kind of young guys that I could see do things that really didn't get a chance to do what they needed to do. And then, Magnus, I liked Magnus, I really did. But I don't know. But with this, there's also another report that I'll get out to you guys as soon as Casey gives his thoughts on what he thinks about these potential departures. Definitely departures, and then kind of potentials as well. Casey?
You tell me to mute the mic because of the echo, and then I do, and I forget that it's muted. And anyway, um, uh, with all these reports, I feel like for one, the Magnus and Storm feud makes a little bit more sense now. For a while there, we were like, "What is this doing? Why are they doing this? This makes no sense." But I mean, it sort of makes a little bit more sense now. You know, doing one last feud before they leave, if they really are leaving. Um, you know, and then I think if Mag or if Storm leaves, I besides Bobby Roode and EY, I think they're the last originals left. From the original TNA, and that was back when it was like even when it was NWA TNA. But this it's definitely a big blow to TNA because TNA is it's sad to say, but they are on the lower end of the totem pole in the wrestling business right now, especially with companies like Ring of Honor, PWG, who are doing amazing matches, amazing shows. Even WWE in the respect of NXT, amazing shows, and I don't really think that TNA is setting up to that standard that much, at least match wise. They have some cool returns and some good stuff, but they're still really having trouble. Just staying up there, and it doesn't help that they're having issues with networks and things like that. You know what I mean? Um, and obviously, I don't think the guys who are running the company really are professional wrestling guys. It doesn't seem like it. Just with how they book things and things like that. But and then moving on to Awesome Kong Terrence Terrell. It would suck to lose Terrence Terrell. Kong wouldn't really surprise me that much or really bother me that much, just because she has come and gone so much, and she was gone for quite a while there. So it's not like I really wouldn't miss her that much. I mean, she even had a little bit of a run in WWE until she got pregnant. So she was there for like a month. So she just seems flaky to me. Not there all the time. You know what I mean? But it just sucks for TNA unless I'm sure you're getting to the next part, so I won't say anything about any possible mergers or anything. But we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely changes a lot of things with the Dollhouse if Taryn Terrell leaves. She's kind of the leader of that. And they are kind of playing up dissension between the Dollhouse, and if with them playing up dissension between the Dollhouse, that could maybe be a thing that happens too, where she is leaving, and that's why they are playing up that dissension. Um, I don't know. Obviously, if you guys don't know, also Havoc is gone. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, she wasn't on TNA for a while, and then I think she had some issues with something going on with TNA. She sent out some tweets that were kind of offensive, and she was pretty much gone after that. Um, I actually kind of liked Havoc a little bit. She kind of left on a sour note though, with that match with Awesome Kong. So I don't know, but let's get to the next thing and the next kind of report I've been hearing. And this one is most certainly a report. It's not necessarily really set in stone. I don't think. As if you haven't watched TNA recently, last week on TNA, the TNA broadcast, the one that came on the 24th, Jeff Jarrett came out there and said he would be in the King of Mountain match. Him and Karen Jarrett. So then what happens is, basically Jeff Jarrett does end up being in the King of the Mountain match, but to me personally, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for him to if he does win the King of the Mountain match, for him to win the King of the Mountain match, and then that be it. Um, so I just thought that was kind of interesting, and the report was that Jeff Jarrett was coming out to say that he was going to be buying a nice portion of TNA, like a pretty big portion of TNA, which could set up for an invasion angle with TNA and GFW, which would make sense that's why so many TNA guys are leaving to quote go to Global Force Wrestling and then come back and invade TNA. Um, that's kind of a thing that they're going with there too. So I mean that would be really cool thing for both companies because TNA kind of being not necessarily still it's a pretty big and popular company with being as big and popular as they are. It would help Global Force Wrestling, while in turn Global Force Wrestling with a merger could really help TNA in the talent department, where not necessarily that it's that TNA doesn't have talent, it's that they don't have enough talent, it feels like. And Global Force Wrestling's roster, which Casey has pulled up, and he'll tell you more about that when he says his part. I feel like you know it could be a really good thing, with the amount of talent Global Force Wrestling does have right now. Plus, Jeff Jarrett is a wrestling mind. He understands exactly how the wrestlers are feeling. He understands what the business is about. He's been in it for so long, so he has that experience with it too. And he was the one that really created TNA. So definitely, I would like to see I would honestly like to see a merger, especially if TNA continues to lose talent just for the sake of losing talent. It feels like. Um, but yeah, I would definitely like to see something like that. There was a new title though. There was a new title introduced at this anniversary. It's called the King of the Mountain title. So whoever wins that match does get that title. Maybe that's if there's a merger. That's a title they could do on both brands or something. That would be kind of cool. Um, but Casey, any thoughts on any of that?
You know, I feel like a merger or an invasion, would be kind of cool because we haven't really had anything big like that happen in the business. You could argue that WCW and ECW merged with WWE after the Monday Night War. No, that didn't happen. WWE bought both companies, so that really wasn't even a merger. I don't consider that a merger. This would be more of a merger. Two companies coming together. That would be really cool. And especially if they did like the invasion, storyline. You know what I mean? That would be pretty cool. And in the talent department, it would help them a lot. I mean, Global Force has a really good roster. They have the Young Bucks, who I was talking to DJ the other day, and I was like, I'm so impressed with the Young Bucks. Just the fact that they wrestle for Global Force Wrestling, they wrestle for Ring of Honor, they wrestle for PWG. There's a couple other or promotions that they wrestle for. It's just amazing that they just have that much time to work with all those companies. It's pretty cool. I'll just kind of go through some of the roster. I'm not going to go through the entire roster. They have PJ Black. You know, they have Tia Trinidad. If you don't know, she was Rosita in TNA back LAX. They do have Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. Another issue I had was they have 4 out of the 5. I think it's 5. It's actually more with New Japan guys. Of the members of Bullet Club, and I was like, why don't they have AJ Styles? They have Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows and the Young Bucks. It was weird. They also have Sanjay Dutt. I miss Sanjay Dutt. I know for a while he was kind of wanting TNA to take him back. You know, because we all miss Sanjay Dutt. You can't not miss him. He's awesome. They have Lance Hoyt, who I haven't seen in a long time. Moose, you know, DJ's boy, Moose there. Then they have Shelton Benjamin, who is just amazing. Trent Beretta, who, you know, was in WWE a while back, back mid 2000s, I think. Um, and then, you know, some other guys, Jimmy Rave, Jigsaw, who I would be really excited to see in more of a televised company, a bigger company. And Chuck Taylor would also be really cool to see, you know, on a weekly show because I like Chuck Taylor. And then they have some other guys. Scott Steiner works with them. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Chris Sabin. So that would be interesting, Chris Sabin, because he's technically, you know, he was in TNA. Then he went to Ring of Honor, and he also in Global Force. So that would be a weird thing there. But I would love to see them, you know, even if they don't really merge, if they did, you know, some regular kind of cross promotion shows, that would be pretty cool to see, you know. But I I think if they do something, it's gonna help both companies either way, you know, and I hope they do.
All right. So thing that I kind of I've been reading a lot of different articles on this force merger. Interesting thing. Um, it says that there's a lot of time with, releases. That the time has kind of been kept in the dark with the company's creative plans. And I'm just gonna tell you this is kind of a spoiler for the future. And I apologize. I use it on spoil on my channel, but this is a really important kind of an important spoiler that I think people would actually want to know. Um, and some people believe that it is going to be an invasion angle. That's why so many people are leaving. And I think it's kind of being left in the dark, where like as far as the talent is being left in the dark. I think that's kind of an interesting thing. Because in the dark anymore because of the internet and everything that you can probably find news and spoilers on. You can, you're gonna find it. Um, I want to see kind of where it goes. If it does end up in a merger or if it ends up in an invasion type of a thing. Um, it could really help both companies. I personally feel like um, if I do get a chance to actually look at a lot of these articles, I'll post them in the description if you want to read up on them, and if you don't want to read up on them, there will be in the description if you ever really wanted to. I'm just interested. It just gets me intrigued because Jeff Jarrett hasn't been there in a while, and I just don't feel like he would come in, be in the King of the Mountain, and we kind of get a new title created. We get the finish that I think is kind of predictable. If you think about it, if you have watched the show, it is kind of predictable if you think about it logically, and for it not to kind of end in some sort of TNA GFW something where maybe Jeff Jarrett does buy the company, it would make sense. Not really trying to give too much away if you haven't watched the show yet, but definitely it's interesting. It really is. We haven't seen any like mergers in a while with these big time companies. So any other thoughts on this right now?
You know, you're just getting me more curious about the show that I can't watch, and it's upsetting me because now I'm thinking that something did happen with Global Force at the end of the show or whenever the King of the Mountain match was, and now I want to know. I don't know. If stupid Cody would actually work and play the stupid thing. Um, but but no. I'm just excited to see what happens. Uh, because I just love to see new companies. New talent. Even older. Talent that we are accustomed to, but maybe haven't seen in a while. Um, like Shelton Benjamin, like Trent Beretta. Um, like Lance Hoyt and Sanjay Dutt. All these guys that you know we just haven't seen in a long time. It would be really cool to see them back again. And then maybe get new, fresh talent to come up too. Because they like I said, they definitely need some sort of boost because just like I said, with the competition that they have right now with Ring of Honor, PWG, NXT, there's really good wrestling out there right now. So they have to step it up somehow. But
Also, found one more thing. Actually adds more to this. So it says that there's a rumor killer out there. I don't know what that is. It obviously it kills any rumors that may happen. Maybe a board, I guess you could say. Says that Jeff Jarrett is not buying TNA wrestling. So kind of it can go hand in hand. Jeff Jarrett wouldn't. It talks about how Jeff Jarrett would not kind of he's not the fact that he would buy TNA or that he is buying TNA. That he's just kind of focusing on promoting and building GFW, which he did say in his last promo. But if you think, why would he? If he's trying to kind of get the fans intrigued, why would he even say anything about it? He would say that he's focusing on, just promoting GFW. I don't know why he would say he would buy in TNA. In the first place, he wouldn't say it directly to anyone. Anyway, so I don't know. It's really interesting. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of different things. But yeah, TNA obviously still struggling with pay issues, struggling with the pay of their production guys and people like that. And it's just it's kind of sad a little bit, just because I don't know who runs the finances for them, but it's been like that for a while. That's why Taz left. That's why a lot of these guys have left. I just want to see what's going to happen, and if these people are really leaving, it's going to force TNA to kind of get new talent or struggle with the even smaller roster that they're going to have after these guys. But I don't know. I'll post all of these, especially if I can find them all. Especially on all of these are from ProWrestling.com. So if you want to just go ahead and look them up, that'll that'll be up to you. It's just intriguing. It really is. What could happen with TNA? What could happen with GFW? What can happen if they do kind of cross promote a little bit? If they do, do some things together. Um, but that's kind of my final thoughts on it. I don't personally think TNA is shutting down, but I am probably the ultimate optimist at this point. Especially with TNA, because I just really love TNA's my baby. But no, I just really, I really love TNA, and I hope and I don't want any wrestling company. This is for any wrestling company to go out of business because it doesn't help the fans at all. The more wrestling you have, the more kind of alternatives to this, and this that you have. If you have, if Ring of Honor went out of the business today, it wouldn't be good because we wouldn't have anything to, like when we get tired of TNA, we can't go anywhere else, or we can go to New Japan. It's kind of, it's always good to have so many different choices. It never hurts. It's kind of like you don't want to always eat the same restaurant. If your favorite restaurant, my favorite Chinese restaurant, for example, went out of business, can't find anything like it. But you know it, but I can't get it back in business either. So it's kind of one of those things where you don't always want the same thing, and it's always good to have something different. Any other thoughts, Casey? And I did mute you, by the way.
Yeah, you did. Uh, um, no, it's just I have mixed feelings about this because I love TNA, but I love older TNA. Back the Asylum days. Back when it felt like TNA was fresh and new, and they were always just coming out with innovative ideas and just new talent, and it was really rolling really well. And I feel like they just haven't done anything new and exciting recently. There's no new match ideas. There's no new titles. Um, the one title that basically built the company, they don't even really use that much. And now it's just, oh, I have the X Division title. I can cash it in for a shot at the world title. So it's just basically just a ticket to the world title now. It doesn't mean anything anymore. They don't use they don't do the Ultimate X match anymore, which again is one of the unique matches that kind of built them. And there's a bunch of other, I can't think of all of them right now, but a bunch of other unique matches that only TNA had that, they don't do anymore. And it's like, why? This is what really built you up and set you apart. I just don't know what's really going on with TNA. So that's why I kind of have mixed signals, mixed emotions about it. I would be sad, but at the same time, unless they went back to the old TNA that I love, it just gives another company a chance to take that spot and do something better. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
I
I
think it's
think
one
it's
of
one
those
of those
things
things
too, where
where
when you compete with, you know, when TNA is obviously competing with WWE, and I think they kind of felt like they had to change their style to compete with WWE, and that was the issue. Instead of trying to be your own thing, you said, well, I think they kind of said at one point, well, we have to kind of be a little bit like WWE and still kind of keep our roots. And I think that's where we are now with TNA, where they're not the WWE, but they're also very similar to WWE. They just are not as big. They're not as popular, and I think they felt like, and I think, that's just kind of how it is. If that's gonna be that, because that was their main competition. When they started to get a little bit bigger, was WWE. And plus, at that time, if you think about it, the the kind of the ownership had changed as well. So the outlook on what TNA could be, or what that person wanted TNA to be, it changed as well. And that's kind of one of those things too. That know, maybe if Jeff Jarrett did somehow take over it, um, maybe that would kind of help TNA a little bit go back to their kind of original roots, but not too much into their original roots to where it feels like, you know, it's like a dingy company or anything like that. Like more so where they can keep the big name approach, the big name, what they can keep what they are now, but as far as what we're getting in the ring, what we're getting in the arena, as far as talent is concerned, the way the matches flow and stuff like that, get what we all used to love from it before. And I think that's kind of just them, competing with WWE to a certain degree. Um, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, or if you agree with me or not. Wait, unmute yourself.
I forgot that I actually did. Yeah, anyway, um, I think they tried to build themselves up too fast and too quick and tried to be bigger than they needed to be. I don't like a lot of the changes that they made, especially when they had Hogan come in. When they changed to like all the blue logo, and then they changed from TNA wrestling to Impact Wrestling. I don't like the Impact Wrestling. I think it's stupid. Um, they're just trying to be too big, and they don't need to try to be that big. They just need to be themselves, be what TNA originally was. And TNA kind of originally was, it was Jeff Jarrett and his dad, coming together. Jarrett didn't want, after WCW went out of business, he didn't want to go back to WWE, so and there was no other really big company at the time, so he started his own and built it up. You know what I mean? And you need to go back to that. Go back to just what TNA fans love, and that's original TNA. Obviously, you can't go back to the original. It's like WWE trying to go back to the Attitude Era. You're never going to be able to do that, but just kind of bring a little bit of that flavor back. Get the old. You have to keep the new fans excited as well as your old diehard fans. And I don't think uh, they're really doing that. It's either they're trying to get the new fans excited or they're trying to get the old fans excited. I don't know that they do a good mix of that well.
And I think a lot of that is the arenas that they're in. So, for example, look at the Impact Zone now. It's probably the worst arena I've been in my life. I wish they would stop being there. I think they need, if they're going to only do 4 pay-per-views a year, they need 2 of them in the UK. Personally, they have some of the best crowds. Because the thing is, TNA can put on a really, really, really good show and not get the credit for it because of the crowd. I kind of felt that way with their shows where it's been really good, but I can't even get into it because before they had that rabid fan chanting and everything. I just feel like you can't really get into it as much when the crowd is not really. They kind of split them out.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to get out of the arena that they're in, whatever. They need to stay away from Florida. Obviously, if you're going on a tour, obviously you have to go to as many of the states as you can. So obviously you have to go to Florida. But I think if they're gonna do like have a base, which I think it was good for them to have a base. I felt like when they started to do the tours, it didn't work for them. What they need to go back to like Nashville, where it started. If they can go back to the original place. I don't know if it's still there. But they need to do something like that. Get that fan base back, get the shows good again. It's kind of like go back to square one, go back to where you started, and you don't have to fully go back to where you started, but look at what worked, and do that. But
Agreed, Will. There we go. I'm kind of your state of TNA. TNA, on our business. What's your opinion? That's the main thing, bro. What's your opinion? We gave our opinions. What's your opinion? You think Jeff Jarrett's taking over? If you know about some of us, who do you think Jeff Jarrett's taking over? If you don't, do you think Jeff Jarrett's taking over? Leave your thoughts on anything TNA on this video. If you think it's, whatever you think, leave it in the comments. Subscribe if you want more content. We'll see you in a bit. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.